In the heart of a dark forge, he vows to succeed and surpass him. His ultimate goal is to create a sword with the terrible power to kill. With his hammer raised, he declares his blade will slay even that monstrous beast. The story shifts to the age of the gods, when mankind fought with the divine. A vast, rugged landscape of dense forests and towering mountains unfolds before them. A large wooden boat rests strangely beached within a secluded forest clearing. 5-year-old Hanaba holds up a freshly picked pear-like fruit with delight. She cheerfully tells her companion, Tsushi, that they have gathered a great deal. 10-year-old Tsuchimaru sternly reminds her she was forbidden from entering the forest. She giggles mischievously, thinking he is just worried about getting into trouble himself. Pointing out the food and firewood, she is cut off by his grim warning. He imparts the second-hand knowledge that richer rewards mean greater danger. She suddenly points into the distance, telling him to look at something. The two children approach their beached boat, Tsuchimaru huffing with effort. He happily declares that tonight, for the first time in ages, they will eat well. Hanaba wanders away and he calls for her to come back immediately. A sudden earth-shaking roar shatters the peace, causing him to whip around in alarm. A massive object slams down from above with a violent, deafening whoosh. Tsuchimaru grabs Hanaba, his expression a mask of pure shock and terror. The immense impact sends earth and debris flying in a chaotic explosion. He shields the younger girl with his body amidst the violent whirlwind of destruction. The ground trembles as a massive furry leg stomps down with incredible force. The creature's gigantic severed limb clatters to the ground before them. His eyes widen in horror, a choked gasp escaping his lips, frozen by terror. The severed limb dangles grotesquely, dripping thick, dark blood onto the earth. The colossal wolf-like beast crushes a person within its massive, snapping jaws. In a nearby settlement, an alarm bell clangs frantically, signaling the attack. The heavy bell continues to ring, its sound echoing through the building. A report confirms a beast emerged and the number 3 boat's crew is missing. A technician confirms a wave pattern match, exclaiming they have found the target. A frantic leader demands to know the status of their protector, Hiko-sama. The technician reports their protector is on the way, 270 *con* from the beast. A lone figure dashes across the landscape at superhuman speed, closing the distance. A small winged divine creature flutters past, a symbol of the world being torn apart. Clutching Hanaba, Tsuchimaru curses his powerlessness as the beast stomps behind them. He knows they must keep running until their savior, Hiko-sama, finally arrives. The creature's immense foot crashes down, narrowly missing the fleeing children. Its colossal furry body adorned with glowing patterns dwarfs the entire landscape. The divine bird creature flaps its wings, flying away from the rampaging monster. Tsuchimaru's face is streaked with dirt and tears as he screams in desperation. He shouts Hiko-sama's name as a figure wreathed in light descends from the heavens. His face is a portrait of awe and relief as he witnesses their savior's arrival. The impact is a cataclysmic explosion of energy that tears through the landscape. The shockwave throws the people in the distant command center from their feet. Tsuchimaru and Hanaba are thrown violently to the ground by the blast. Hiko-sama, now revealed, stands with grim determination before the colossal beast. The monster recoils with a hiss as Hiko-sama prepares her counterattack. The beast lets out a furious roar, its fanged maw open wide. Her blade merely scrapes against the creature's tough hide with a sickening creak. Tsuchimaru watches in horror, realizing her sword cannot penetrate its skin. The beast retaliates, snapping its jaws, but she flips through the air to dodge. Forgoing her useless sword, she leaps forward to meet the beast head-on. She strikes its head with a powerful palm-heel strike, the impact echoing loudly. The force of her blow sends a shockwave across the ground. The beast stumbles back, but the attack is not a finishing one. Hiko-sama's face is smudged with dirt, her expression one of weary frustration. The wounded creature drags itself away, battered but far from defeated. He realizes that if the sword is useless, there is no way to truly wound it. Lying exhausted on the ground, he can only pant as the battle rages on. He feels a gentle touch and turns to see Hanaba weakly calling his name. He startles awake, finding himself safe on a futon with a cool compress. Bolting upright, he cries out for the beast, but his father reassures him. His father explains that their protector, Hiko-sama, managed to fight it off. Tsuchimaru lets out a heavy sigh of relief, his ordeal finally over. His father remarks on how lucky the children were to have survived the encounter. Tsuchimaru sleeps fitfully, mumbling Hanaba's name as his father watches in relief. Their small boat groans as it travels across a desolate, rocky terrain. Tsuchimaru senses something, his head turning with a look of slight surprise. An impossibly large Hiko-sama looms over them, hailed in reverence by his father. The deity's expression is serene and focused as she prepares a ritual. Kneeling, she performs a purifying rite over a bowl of water. She extends a gentle hand, expressing her pleasure that the children still live. As her hand nears, a comforting warmth spreads through Tsuchimaru's body. He feels the lingering pain from his ordeal begin to melt away completely. She smiles, confirming it is good he still breathes, revealing her divine power. A somber woman reflects on the profound weakness of ordinary humans. She knows they cannot survive without Hiko-sama fighting the beast for them. Her thoughts drift to the powerlessness of her people in this dangerous world. A flashback to the ninth moon shows Tsukumo was an ordinary traveling community. A lone figure is seen kneeling before a glowing orb in a barren wasteland. Their existence is dedicated to enshrining their deity, Nasunagi Hiko no Mikoto. Inside their great ark, trays are laden with offerings and festive food. A joyous celebration erupts as the people cheer for their protector, Hiko-sama. A woman serves a steaming bowl of food to the surprised young Hanaba. Tsuchimaru is presented with a heaping bowl, a reward for his survival. An older man and woman encourage him to eat, saying he has earned it. He devours his meal with gusto, happy to finally have a full stomach. The woman explains the beast, Nasa no Kami, has fought Hiko-sama for a century. The man adds grimly that it is a difficult foe that defies a sword. Tsuchimaru swallows hard, the gravity of their recurring struggle sinking in. As the feast continues, a man announces a new blade will be ready soon. Lost in thought, Tsuchimaru is pulled from his reverie by Hanaba begging for food. Later that night, the full moon hangs over the ark's unique architecture. Tsuchimaru runs through a corridor with Hanaba playfully chasing after him. Distracted, he collides hard with someone, a sharp bump echoing in the hall. He looks up into the intimidating face of a large, disheveled man. He recognizes the man as Mr. Kanuchi as Hanaba stammers in fear. The girl bows her head, offering a frightened apology for the collision. Kanuchi grumbles menacingly that they should look where they are going. Tsuchimaru watches with deep suspicion as the man snubs them and walks away. Still catching his breath, Tsuchimaru holds a frightened Hanaba close to him. His expression hardens into a glare as he thinks of the man Kanuchi. The vagrant, Kanuchi, is described as a guest currently staying in their community. Tsuchimaru's thoughts turn to the swordsmiths in the fiery forge where they labor. He realizes all the community's men are busy at the smithy forging something. This leaves the elderly and the children to forage for supplies in the forest. A grim question forms in his mind as he swallows, filled with sudden doubt. He wonders if the new sword can really slay the beast that made this crater. A small bird-like scout soars through the sky on a reconnaissance mission. The winged creature, a strange owl-like being, continues its flight through the clouds. A young woman with large eyes and horns hums thoughtfully to herself. An alarm suddenly clangs, signaling a report from the scout designated Luan 5. On the map, the scout's position is shown near approaching beast tracks. The target is identified as the monstrous badger-like beast, the Nasa no Kami. Panic erupts in the forest as the foragers are ordered back to the coven. Tsuchimaru looks back in terror as the group scrambles for safety. An older woman stands with grim determination, saying today will be different. Her face is set in resolve, vowing that this time things won't be the same. Tsuchimaru looks on, his eyes wide as he begins to understand her words. The woman's hand rests on the hilt of her blade, ready for a fight. At the coven, Hiko-sama triumphantly declares that the new sword is finally complete. The massive broad blade gleams with an otherworldly powerful light. Tsuchimaru recognizes the new sword with a look of awe and anticipation. Hiko-sama strides onto the rocky battlefield to confront the approaching beast. With a great whoosh of motion, Hiko-sama moves with impossible speed to intercept. Gripping the greatsword, Hiko-sama prepares to swing with immense power. Divine energy swirls around Hiko-sama as they meet the charging beast head-on. The new sword cleaves through the creature's hide with a sickening thud. Tsuchimaru's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated shock at the display. The massive body of the beast collapses to the ground, utterly defeated. The crowd of onlookers erupts into a jubilant roar, celebrating the victory. Amid the celebration, the vagrant Kanuchi watches with a quiet, dismissive Tsuchimaru stares at the slain beast, shocked it was killed so easily. A profound realization strikes him with the force of a physical blow. The thought crystallizes in his mind that even a human can be useful. His bare foot trembles, his toes clench tight with a surge of adrenaline. Smoke rises from a building in the sprawling, fortified settlement of his home. Within a workshop, a furnace roars with a deep, vibrating hum of power. Tsuchimaru secretly peeks into the forge, observing the intense heat within. He watches the master swordsmith, Kanuchi, resting amongst his tools and embers. A memory shows the master wielding a massive, ornate hammer in his work. The smith brings his hammer down, creating a cataclysmic burst of sparks. The master's face is a mask of pure effort as he works the metal. An intense thought consumes Tsuchimaru. If only he could make a sword. That night, a door opens to the forge, the sound of hammering echoing. Tsuchimaru works at the roaring furnace, his face a mask of determination. He toils under the watchful eye of the moon, thinking only of swords. He hammers away with panicked focus, sweat dripping from his face. Gritting his teeth, he holds a makeshift shield against a shower of sparks. He works alone in the dark, the rhythmic clanging a testament to his will. The world is a blur of darkness as he focuses on his singular task. The sun rises, signaling the end of his long night of secret labor. With a cry of frustration, he presents his crude but finished knife. He cries out in pain as he accidentally strikes his own hand with the hammer. He is confronted by Hiko-sama and Jinza, who demand to know what he was thinking. Tsuchimaru cringes under their angry glares, clutching his injured hand in fear. The master swordsmith Kanuchi appears, his hand reaching for the knife. He observes the scene with a dismissive humph, his presence calming the tension. Kanuchi examines the blade, grudgingly admitting it's not bad for a first try. Tsuchimaru's face lights up with relief and a touch of pride at the praise. Hiko-sama happily tells Jinza to relax since Mr. Kanuchi approves of the work. Jinza protests, warning Hiko-sama not to indulge the boy's reckless behavior. Kanuchi clarifies his praise, adding that it's not bad for a complete novice. Hiko-sama's expression turns serious as she prepares to question the boy. She asks Tsuchimaru why he did it, reminding him how precious their iron is. Tsuchimaru looks down, his voice quiet but firm as he begins his explanation. He explains that his motivation came from seeing the blade kill the beast. A confused Jinza listens, trying to understand the boy's reasoning. Tsuchimaru explains that Hiko-sama is always fighting and getting hurt for them. A fragmented image shows Hiko-sama wounded but resolute in the heat of battle. His face cast in shadow, he confesses his frustration at being a powerless human. He shouts with raw emotion that he wants to come to Hiko-sama's aid. He bows his head before Kanuchi and Jinza, his confession complete. Jinza's expression softens, acknowledging that he understands the boy's sentiment. Suddenly, Hiko-sama upends a bucket of water onto Jinza's head. Tears stream down Hiko-sama's face as she tells Tsuchimaru she forgives him. She remarks on how he has matured since he was born not long ago. Tsuchimaru looks up, now blessed by Hiko-sama, to do as he pleases. He sets out with Kanuchi in the year of the metal hare, 10th moon. A stark image shows the once thriving Tsukumo coven now a desolate ruin. A sacred shide strip flutters in the wind above the ruins. The second episode begins with a solemn ceremony amidst the rubble. Hiko-sama's voice reflects that these beasts can only be slain by certain beings. A memory shows her, a deity, standing triumphant over a slain monster. She tells a younger Tsuchimaru that humans have a role to play. While deities fight, she explains, humans can still offer their help. A deep, powerful hum emanates from the material she is about to give him. She presents him with a large, glowing ingot of superior metal for his work. Back at the forge, Tsuchimaru hammers away with renewed skill and focus. The rhythmic clanging of his hammer echoes through the workshop. He presents his newly forged, professional-looking knife to his master. Kanuchi takes the blade with his typical non-committal humph. He inspects the blade and concedes that its sharpness has improved somewhat. Tsuchimaru beams with pride, letting out a triumphant cheer at the praise. But the lesson is not over as Kanuchi's expression turns deadly serious. With a sudden, swift motion, he prepares to strike the new blade. The knife snaps in two, the pieces flying as Tsuchimaru cries out in shock. Kanuchi holds up the broken hilt, delivering a single crushing verdict: brittle. Tsuchimaru slumps to the floor, stunned into silence by the sudden failure. The master explains that sharpness must be wedded to flexibility to be useful. A wave of understanding washes over the young apprentice Tsuchimaru's face. From the ornate rafters, the master declares it is time to begin working. The apprentice immediately gets to work, operating a large, clattering bellows machine. With a loud mechanical groan, a heavy gate slides open to the outside. A massive armored figure brandishes a whirring, pile-driver-like weapon with immense power. The armored warrior slams the weapon down, creating a brilliant burst of energy. Each powerful bang of the weapon shatters the earth, sending debris flying. A young Tsuchimaru watches, his face etched with pained concentration as energy buzzes. He observes the warrior, who continues his relentless work without pausing for a moment. The armored figure turns, ready to strike another blow upon the ravaged landscape. The relentless banging continues, each impact a cataclysmic explosion of force and light. An impossibly large blade lies on the ground next to a deep gouge. The sky above is serene, a stark contrast to the violence that occurred. The massive dark hide of the slain beast is draped over its spine. Now stripped clean, the colossal, bleached white spine and skull are hoisted up. The landscape, scarred and cratered, steams in the aftermath of the grim harvest. Inside a command center, a woman reports the beast's dismantling is complete. Her stern-faced superior acknowledges the report and gives the order to ascend. The entire traditional building begins to groan and hum with immense power. With a deep, resonant thrum, the structure lifts from the ravaged ground. The colossal airship, the Tsukumo Coven, now heads toward the high forest. A young girl wistfully complains that they are leaving the area already. The leader explains that even rich places have limits they must respect. He gently pats her head, speaking of their eventual return to this place. They must let the forest recover so it can offer its blessings again. Tsuchimaru listens silently, his expression serious and deeply thoughtful. He strolls through the ship's corridors, pondering the need to be frugal. He thinks to himself that at least they have meat from the slain beast. Peeking around a corner, he sees the master holding a small creature. Tsuchimaru is shocked to see the master cuddling a purring winged Luan. He realizes with a squint that this Luan is not from their coven. He notes its impressive size, concluding that it must be a stray. Suddenly, a massive, complex eye glares down at him with unnerving intensity. Tsuchimaru is startled, his face flushing with surprise and embarrassment. The giant owl creature flaps its wings powerfully, asserting its presence. A small bird-like creature flies off into the sky, leaving the scene. Tsuchimaru stammers an apology, surprised the master keeps birds and beasts. The owl creature, covered in intricate feather patterns, remains silent and imposing. As the master walks away, Tsuchimaru worries that he has angered him. He muses that perhaps the quiet master simply has a great love for birds. Elsewhere, Jinza and Hanaba learn that Tsuchimaru has disappeared again. Hanaba comments with weary familiarity that this is all he does lately. They find him in a workshop, kneeling and completely absorbed in his work. The men express their relief, noting that at least the boy is working. From the doorway, his sister Hanaba watches him with a contemplative expression. An elegant woman, Hiko-sama, tells Jinza that Tsuchimaru reminds her of him. Her expression is gentle and knowing as she reflects on the past. She holds a small, folded piece of cloth, a memento of Jinza's passion. She recalls the simple joy of creation, a boon not granted to all. She remembers that while skilled, no single craft ever truly held his heart. A gleaming blade represents the craft that now consumes his focus. But now, she observes the passion burning within him is undeniably strong. She tells Jinza that Tsuchimaru too is blessed with this gift. His face is a mask of feral concentration. He has found his vocation. Hanaba's cheeks puff out in a pout as she approaches the workshop. She stomps over to her brother, who is still focused on his work. She smacks him on the back, startling him out of his concentration. She complains that it isn't fair that only he gets to do forging. With puffed cheeks, she huffs her desire to be allowed to try too. He retorts that women are not allowed to forge, which she questions. Undeterred, she shakes him vigorously, pleading to be allowed to participate. He finally relents, promising to give her the piece he is making. Her eyes widen as she asks if he truly promises to give it to her. He confirms his promise and she lets out a jubilant, "Yippee!" Later, he proudly holds up the gleaming, completed knife he forged. He eagerly presents the knife to his master, asking for his opinion. The master begins an endless, complex lecture that Tsuchimaru cannot understand. Despite his confusion, the boy vows that one day he will comprehend it all. His thought is cut short by the sudden, piercing clang of an alarm. Tsuchimaru is instantly alert, recognizing the warning that a beast is near. The master is also jolted to attention, his expression suddenly grim. On the bridge, the crew panics, wondering how the beast got so close. On an outer deck, a woman looks out, her face a mask of confusion. A dark shape soars through the sky, moving with unnatural speed. The flying creature closes the distance to the coven with terrifying swiftness. It swoops down, grabbing one of the winged coven members from the deck. The massive owl creature snaps its talons around its victim's head. It soars away and then casually tosses its captive through the air. The beast slithers through the air over the ravaged landscape below. On the ground, a lone warrior, Hiko-sama, stands ready for battle. The coven members watch, one stating that Hiko-sama will prevail. Tsuchimaru expresses his faith that Hiko-sama can win with the master's sword. A massive draconic beast slithers into view, its patterned hide immense. The woman who was thrown plummets towards the ground, crying out. She falls helplessly toward the cratered, broken earth far below her. Hiko-sama stands before the colossal dragon, overwhelmed by its sheer massive scale. Her face is a mask of grim determination as she lets out a battle cry. With a burst of speed, she launches herself forward to attack the monster. Tsuchimaru and his father watch in horror, the boy whispering about the beast. A buzzing energy fills Tsuchimaru's head as the battle is about to begin. The impact of Hiko-sama's attack is cataclysmic, tearing the earth asunder. The dragon retaliates, and Hiko-sama screams as she is thrown through the air. The world becomes a blur of motion and impact, a maelstrom of destruction. The scene dissolves into a chaotic mess of speedlines and debris. The landscape rumbles and slides as the destroyed battlefield begins to settle. Tsuchimaru groans in pain, pushing himself up from the rubble, wondering what happened. His eyes widen in stark terror as he sees the monster is still moving. The immense dragon slithers forward through the dust, its head low to the ground. Tsuchimaru stares, his face a mask of pure fear as the monster approaches. The earth crumbles and shatters under the immense weight of the advancing beast. With a furious roar, Hiko-sama smashes her weapon into the ground, shattering the landscape. A powerful cry of battle fury rips from her lips, her face contorted. Grappling the beast's hide, she screams her vow that she will not let it win. Her massive sword clangs uselessly against the dragon's impenetrable patterned scales. Tsuchimaru watches in horror, disbelieving that their great sword has failed. The broken half of the sword cartwheels through the air with a swift swish. It lands with a heavy thud, embedding itself in the rubble like a tombstone. Amidst the wreckage, Tsuchimaru and his father huddle together before the broken blade. The father stares at the shattered weapon, lamenting its destruction with a pained look. He tells his foolish son to worry about himself, not the sword. Seeing his son is hurt, the father asks if he's able to stand. Suddenly, the ground begins to rumble and shake violently beneath their feet. Tsuchimaru cries out a desperate warning, his eyes fixed on their champion, Hiko-sama. The dragon's body coils tightly around Hiko-sama, crushing her with immense pressure. An agonized grunt escapes Hiko-sama's lips as the beast's grip tightens relentlessly. Its cold reptilian eye glares with malevolent victory over its captured opponent. The dragon's tail whips through the air, startling Tsuchimaru and his father. A powerful strike sends the father flying from the ground in an instant. Tsuchimaru can only stammer his father's name, his world beginning to shatter. The tail whips the man's body helplessly through the sky toward the beast. Its massive jaws open wide, the man twitching helplessly within its maw. With a sickening chomp, the dragon's fangs close, sealing the man's fate. Tsuchimaru's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated terror, his mind frozen. Villagers flee, crying out that Hiko-sama has lost and Tsuchimaru's father is eaten. A desperate command to run echoes as the dragon begins its brutal rampage. Its serpentine body slithers menacingly over the still-captured form of Hiko-sama. The fleeing villagers are struck down, their cries of pain filling the air. Tsuchimaru stumbles through a black chaos of violence, begging for it to stop. His desperate flight is stopped short as he bumps hard into a solid figure. He is thrown backward by the sudden, unexpected impact with the stranger. Looking up, he sees a man with long white hair and a weathered face. Tsuchimaru recognizes the man amidst the slaughter, crying out his title, Master! The colossal dragon looms over the master and the boy in the wasteland. A close-up shows the beast's rocky, cracked hide, ancient and impenetrable. The master stands with impossible calm before the survivors and the approaching monster. The dragon's massive rock-like head thuds to the ground before the master. Strange, tentacle-like appendages slither menacingly from the beast's body. Tsuchimaru's eyes widen in profound confusion, his world turning upside down. The master calmly reaches out, placing a hand on one slithering tentacle. In the next moment, he stands on the creature's face beside its eye. Tsuchimaru stammers the master's title, questioning what he is possibly seeing. The master places his hand on one of the dragon's massive white horns. With its new rider perched on its head, the dragon begins to slither away. The master now sits calmly between the dragon's glowing eyes, its commander. Tsuchimaru wonders if his master has betrayed them or is controlling the beast. Elsewhere, a young man, Hanaba, calls out weakly for Tsuchi from the rubble. His face is a mask of pure anguish and horror, tears in his eyes. He gazes down at a young girl trapped beneath shattered debris. The girl, Tsushi, reaches a desperate hand upward, her face filled with pain. Hanaba screams her name, launching himself forward in a desperate rescue attempt. He is yanked backward with incredible force, his body a blur of motion. A thick tail is wrapped around him, pulling him away from the girl. He struggles against the pull, managing to push Tsushi to safety. He vows that the demon will not devour her, floating above the ground. The slithering tail tightens its grip, dragging him away from the one he saved. He is dangled like a toy before the dragon's massive fanged maw. With a final, decisive chomp, the beast's jaws slam shut around him. He is plunged into darkness, falling into the creature's gullet. A violent splash marks his landing in a churning black internal liquid. The inside is a hellscape of doom filled with ghostly skeletal apparitions. The liquid is hot and cold. He cannot breathe under the immense pressure. Overwhelmed by pain and grief, a desperate scream tears from his throat. He is assaulted by a vision of his father's anguished face. The phantoms of his people, Su'u, Asagi, Kuro, swirl around him in torment. He questions why this is happening, why everyone he knew has been taken. The vision of the woman, Hanaba, appears before him, her soul fading. Her form crumbles and dissolves into the blackness like ash. His small form struggles futilely in the vast, dark, soul-destroying abyss. Suddenly, a figure radiating an ethereal glow bursts into the beast's stomach. Sushi, her face furious, unleashes a powerful punch into the fleshy wall. The impact sends a shockwave through the black fluid of the beast's innards. She gulps and struggles in the viscous, suffocating liquid surrounding her. The dragon groans in agony as Sushi pants, demanding something be returned. An internal appendage whips through the fluid towards her with astonishing speed. She dodges the attack, slithering through the beast's internal defenses. A second appendage strikes, throwing her back with a sickening thud. The dragon lifts its head outside, clearly in agony from her rampage. Sushi coughs up the black acrid fluid that fills the creature's stomach. Fueled by grief and rage, she screams for the beast to return her people. A horrible maw inside the beast snaps at her, catching her off guard. Her severed arm, hand still clenched, whips through the dark fluid. The beast's internal maw has ripped her arm clean off at the shoulder. Another part of its internal structure slices through the fluid, grabbing her. A spray of black fluid erupts as she is violently seized. The appendage grabs her battered body with immense, crushing force. She lets out a final agonized scream, her face contorted in pain. The immense pressure building inside the dragon culminates in a violent expulsion. Suchi is shot out of the creature's body, flying through the air. She soars over the landscape before crashing down into a dense forest. Her body lies broken amidst the foliage of the forest canopy. Slowly, painfully, she pushes herself up, clutching her bleeding stump. She pants heavily, exhausted but alive, and looks back toward the monster. The dragon stands before her, a majestic and terrifying creature of immense scale. A black tentacle-like appendage slithers out from the dragon, landing on the ground. The magnificent beast, Shuju, is a fortress of interlocking dark scales. It convulses, its throat working as it swallows something with great effort. The sheer scale of the dragon dwarfs a nearby building in the landscape. Its colossal head turns, glaring down from its immense height. The master Kanuchi calmly tells the dragon to leave, that it has done enough. Heeding his command, the great beast begins to slither away into the distance. A white-haired man calmly observes that the beast, Shuju, has clearly misjudged. The massive dragon slithers away across the desolate and ravaged landscape. In the aftermath, the colossal structure of the Tsukumo Coven lies utterly destroyed. A view of the distant mountains shows a quiet, empty sky. The scene shifts to a peaceful, dense forest under a calm sky. Deep within the woods, a young man doubles over, coughing violently. He pants in disbelief, realizing he's alive but questioning why. Looking at his hand, he wonders how he could possibly be unscathed. He finds an unconscious girl draped over him, protected by a heavenly garment. A memory surfaces of the girl wondering if Hiko-sama's divine power saved her. She recalls returning to the coven to find not a single soul left. Inside one of the ruined buildings, the ceiling is torn open to the sky. Debris and shattered wooden beams litter the floor of the destroyed structure. The girl walks with a crunching sound through the absolute devastation of her home. Her hand hovers over a dark, stained patch of earth where a knife lies. She remembers a grim promise that the next one taken would be her. A knife flutters through the air, landing amidst the rubble. A figure collapses to their knees in shock, realizing this isn't good. Standing before a monolithic structure, they despair that even this wasn't enough. Their hands plunge into the gritty earth, seeking something better. The need intensifies into a desperate internal shout for something better. Their face is a mask of manic intensity, streaked with dirt and tears. Kneeling alone, they are a small figure dwarfed by the scale of their failure. The story of this failure begins, framed as a tale of the past. It is a chronicle about the mythical age of the gods. In a forge, a swordsmith works, quenching a blade with a sizzle. He breathes heavily, inspecting his work in an era when mankind fought with divinity. The smith murmurs the name of his creation, Tsuchimaru. A female deity of fire eagerly asks if the holy sword is finally complete. The tale is revealed to be about the Titan's sword, a weapon of immense scale,